Welcome to Bella Vista High School as we get ready for the girls lacrosse season in 2025. I'm George Tharlson, joined by Scott Hackman, the head coach of the girls team. Quite a year last year. We'll get into last year in just a second, but we're talking on a Friday afternoon, and in just 3 days, you're going to be playing your first game at Wood Creek in Roseville.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we start right away, as you mentioned, on Monday, the 24th, with our first game against Wood Creek at Wood Creek. That's going to be, they're a great team. They have great players, great coaching staff, and it's going to be a challenge for us. And then we roll that right into Wednesday, our first home game against Christian Brothers, the 26th of February. That's going to be an exciting night, too, in that it's our 20th anniversary as a program. So we're going to do a lot of celebration there about that for girls lacrosse at Bella Vista High School. 20 years as a CIF sport. I think we were one of the first in the region, and we're going to celebrate it. So, but yeah, CVC, there's no letting up. There's really no preseason this year. I only have 2 out-of-conference games. The rest are the 14 league games. So, yeah, we just hit the ground running and with our first game on Monday against Wood Creek.
You mentioned that the league is a little different this year.
It is, absolutely. We made some good changes as a region. I think we started. We're no longer Delta League, which we were last year, which was a very competitive league, a great time, a lot of great teams. But we rolled that now into, we combine basically the Foothill and the Delta League into kind of a Division II format where we have the Cap Valley Conference. We're so thankful for Al at the Cap Valley Conference that they're standing up a girls and boys lacrosse league this year. We have one division with 8 teams, and it looks like next year we'll probably have hopefully 9 or 10 teams. So it's pretty exciting. Love being part of the Cap Valley Conference, and all the coaches really work well together. It's going to be exciting, but there isn't a night off. Like every night you're playing a league game. It all matters for playoffs.
You mentioned 20 years for Bella Vista lacrosse.
Yeah.
Not everybody does that. It'd be nice if there were some rivals a little bit closer to the school, of course. Are we seeing more schools bring it in?
Absolutely, we are. I think maybe 4 or 5 this year. Sometimes they start a little slow with varsity only and then roll it into a program. But really, it starts at the youth level. A lot of my props go to the youth coaches out there, the U14 and below, where they're starting these kids sooner in their careers. And it's really built a lot of new programs. Like I said, hopefully we'll add a couple more next year. But I think the fact that Bella Vista has had 20 years of this, and our coaching staff, we put a lot of time into looking into old yearbooks in the library. We've gathered up a lot of alumni, and I think it's going to be a great celebration on the 26th. It's going to be really fun.
Let's talk a little bit about last season. You had Regan Silvers go down with an injury, which, obviously that hurts the team. She was your leading scorer the previous year. Then you have the emergence of Julia Thomas as well.
Amazing. Yeah, Julia, I can't say enough about the amount of work that Julia Thomas puts in off the field. She's part of a couple different competitive programs. She plays year-round. A lot of our girls do play competitive all year, so a lot of kudos to those coaches as well to get them ready. But yeah, as you mentioned, the emergence of Julia last year, she had a great year filling in at that midi position and really expanding. She got all league last year, so we had 3 all-year or all-league recipients last year in Julia, Paige Hackman, and Elsie as goalie. So, and they're all 3 coming back. It's pretty exciting, but we have 12 returning lettermen from last year out of a squad of 22. We have 22 on the team this year, so we have a deep roster this year. It's really competitive, and that's added on to the 9 new players that we brought up from JV from last year that really performed well in tryouts. Proud of them all. And then we added another, a senior, more of a defensive mindset in Izzy Hardman to really fill out that 22-player roster. We have 2 goalies this year, which is pretty exciting. That's a blessing for a coach to have. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about this coming year for sure. And you mentioned Regan Silvers, too. She battled through adversity last year with the injury, but, that's part of being an athlete, and she stepped up and got the Resilience Award from our program. So kudos to her for that. And I'm excited to see what Julia is going to do this year.
Indeed, I think we're excited really to see what the entire team, how that group is going to come together this year. Certainly, we highlighted a couple of key players. You mentioned 2 goalies, and that's Elsie Ballard and Story Wharton, correct?
That's correct. You have Elsie and Story. are phenomenal. They've also been putting in the work. Elsie's been playing a lot of soccer, so she just joined us recently for tryouts. But we invest in goalie coaches. We do all sorts of stuff to get them better. I'm excited to see them play. So yeah, I wanted to give a quick shout out to my returners. We have Paige, Danny, Liv, Regan, Kate, Marilyn, Paige Hackman, Sadie, Story, Presley, Elsie, and Julia. So we basically split seniors and juniors this year, and then added, of course, Julia Thomas as a sophomore. And then we had those 9 we added from JV, and then one additional senior coming on. So we're pretty excited for all of that, and kudos to all the girls for working hard through tryouts.
One of the things I like to ask the coaches about, not just about the now, but the future, and I was kind of looking down at your roster. You've got the varsity and the JV kind of side by side here. Yeah. You've got a lot of freshmen on the JV.
Absolutely, yeah. Kudos to, and another blessing to our program is Coach Carlin. Coach Carlin stepping in as a BV alumni, played college lacrosse, came back, and now she's going to lead our JV program. But yeah, we have 4 sophomores on JV and 18 freshmen. So that was a decision we made as a coaching staff to really build that JV. You got to keep the JV going, and it was very healthy this year. But yeah, 18 freshmen, each one of them are, for the most part, multi-sport athletes. We really foster multi-sport athletes here, and we just celebrate that. And each one of those 18 is bringing a different attribute to the table when it comes to JV. I'm excited to see how the JV does this year.
All right, so we mentioned Wood Creek and Christian Brothers to get the season started. Who else are we looking out for in the Capital Valley Conference?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the whole conference is great, really top to bottom. Rio's going to be a challenge for us, but I mean, the big dog in the group that everybody's trying to dethrone is Vista Del Lago. Coach Jordan over at Vista Del Lago, just an amazing coach. She runs, competitive programs as well, and they just have a lot of great players. On both sides of the ball, defense, on attack, their midi situation. I know Paige Hackman, who's our draw specialist, she's going to have her hands full there in the center circle. But we've been practicing a lot. That's our motivation, is to get better and to perform against these teams. So I'd say Vista Del Lago, Christian Brothers, Wood Creek, to name a few. Like top to bottom, it's a great 8-team conference.
So tell us about your approach to the game. What can we expect to see when we're watching you out on the field?
Yeah, so some of our core philosophies, we have a lot of them, and we had a team meeting last night where we talked through them all. But we constantly harp on the redefend. We look to see on that ride, try to get the ball back after the defense, say, stops us or we lose the ball. It's a key attribute to get that ball back. So that's one thing, our redefend. Winning the draw at the center circle. As I mentioned, Paige Hackman, she had 60 draw controls her sophomore year, and then she had up to almost 80 last year. So, and that's not just her, that's like the center circle, the other 2 middies. So we got to win the draw. We gotta get out and run. Out of those 12 returners, we have a lot of really good athletes, so we're going to try to use that to our advantage this year. Regarding the rest of the conference and the rest of the schedule, we have 2 out of conference away games, one at Whitney High School, which they'll be tough because they're part of the SFL for sure. And then we get to take an amazing trip to Northgate and play Walnut Creek, which we're really excited about. There's nothing but learning experience there. It's going to be fun. Just like last year, we went into Napa and got a W, and that was a great moment last year.
So what does that do for the players? I mean, that's a road trip.
It is, absolutely. The parents like it. The kids like it. We get a bunch of Chick-fil-A sandwiches. We play a lot of music. It's definitely a team vibe on the bus. We get there, and you'd be amazed. Like, we're partying on the bus, and then the minute we get there, game faces are on, and everybody's ready to go. So it's just a great team-building experience. Play some out-of-conference opponents, especially in the East Bay, Walnut Creek area. It's some of the best lacrosse in Northern California. So it's great to compete at that level.
I know you and I did some basketball games together this year on the girls' side and also with the boys' side. And when we look at those schedules, especially in December, when they go and play tournaments, and a lot of the teams do play those tougher teams, and some of them travel way outside the area too, to get that experience. How does that help you with your team development?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Max Preps, back when there weren't as many teams in our region, Bella Vista had to travel quite a bit. But since then, we've been pretty local, at least my time here. And then last year, we took a trip to Napa, and I think it was a game changer of our season. It can work positive and negative, regardless of actually not just positive. Like win or lose, it's a great experience. So just to get a different, we play a lot of these CVC teams in fall ball, and we get used to them. We know the coaches, we know everybody, but just to get that experience where we can play other teams, it's very beneficial.
And the one thing I learned from Coach Hackman, doing some basketball games with him, is there's wins and there's learning experiences. There's no losses.
No, absolutely not. No, there's no such thing as a loss. And in fact, I'm not even going to put a win and loss total on the season this year. I don't really motivate that way. Each game has a different way to motivate these girls. This group does not need to be motivated that way. So we're going to take it one game at a time. That's what we did last year, and then all of a sudden at the end of the season we kind of like lifted up from our work and found out we were 11-5. So that's what's important to us.
Now, if we do talk about records for a bit,
Yeah.
The right kind of record will get you some extra games. And so, I mean, obviously there's an opportunity to make the playoffs this year.
Absolutely, yeah. They'll probably take. It's constantly changing in terms of who qualifies, but at this moment, I believe it's 2 out of our 8 teams will get an automatic bid. But then you can also go after some at-large bids. So we're not really. Of course, that is a goal of ours, is making the playoffs and representing CVC in the section playoff. But that's not that's not what we're really looking at right now. At this point, we're looking at Wood Creek. We're ready to stop their attack, and we're just looking at that as a goal.
And then just build from there.
Just build from there. Exactly. We have an exciting new group, of attack. We have Lauren, Kelly, Maddie, Zia to go along with our returners, Danny, Liv, Marilyn, and Presley. So our attack's really full of great players this year. Our defense as well. We have some newcomers in Emma, Izzy, Jilly, Casey, Mia, and Maisie. We're returning Paige Martin and Sadie Keogh. As you know her, she's a great player too. Both of them are great players. And then our middies are really loaded with our all-league talent, with Kate and Paige, Regan, and Julia. There with our 2 goalies, Elsie and Story. So we're really excited.
Lots of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. I mean, it makes my job easy. Our coaching staff steps up every day and sets up a plan, and it's really easy to implement because the girls know what to do. They know where to go. It just makes it really fun.
All right. Well, best of luck this season.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you, George, and we'll get together and do some live stream events. Just everybody tune in. I think on the 26th, right, we play Christian Brothers. And then I wanted to give a shout out to a month after that, March 26th, we play Wood Creek at home. And that's going to be Teacher Appreciation Night. Okay. So I really want to throw that out there too. We have another great couple things. In March 5th, we have Media Day, and then April 10th is Senior Night. So we'll put all that out on Instagram, but I really hope everybody comes out and supports these young athletes.
All right, so that's Bella Vista Girls Lacrosse. It all starts Monday at Wood Creek, and then we get to see them for the first time Wednesday, the 26th, against Christian Brothers, and we'll have the coverage of the varsity game starting just after 7 o'clock right here on BV Live Sports. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you during the season.